That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about All the Old Knives, the sophomore narrative feature directed by Janus Metz, which Amazon Pictures is releasing on April 8th. Amazon Studios.
What is Janus's first film?
Well, he's probably was better known as a documentarian for a 2010 film called Armadillo, but he also directed Borg vs. McEnroe in 2017, starring Shia LaBeouf. You know about the tennis players. I think that opened the Toronto International Film Festival that year, if I remember correctly.
Okay, the basic story of this film, which I'm going to ruin, is about Chris Pine, who's a CIA agent. Mm-hmm. He is told by his boss, Lawrence Fishburne, that relating to an airplane hijack that occurred like 8 years prior, he has very strong reason to believe that an ex-agent was involved in this hijacking because of a phone call that was made, and also one of the CIA's like moles was captured and then ultimately told that an agent was involved in that hijacking. So he tells Chris Pine, you need to go talk to these two agents and figure out like which one of them is involved, because I know it's one of them. So he goes to the first person, played by
Jonathan Pryce,
questions that person, and then makes his way to the second person, played by Zoe Saldana. No?
Tandua Newton.
Tandui Newton. I said her name because we just watched The Adam Project.
With Zoe Saldana.
And Zoe Saldana's in it.
Yes. No,
this movie is Tandui Newton. Okay.
I think isn't it pronounced Tandua now?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Chris Pine makes his way to Tandui, and
who now lives in Carmel by the Sea.
And
Carmel.
The other guy, Jonathan Pryce, calls her and warns her, like, hey, old boy is coming. So she's ready. So they meet at this very sumptuous wine restaurant, or wine bar, I guess.
It's a restaurant.
It's a restaurant.
But it's known for their wine.
He's questioning her.
It's wine country.
It's wine country, okay. The gag is, neither one of those ex-agents is the one involved. It's actually Chris Pine. But he's not like a terrorist or anything like that. He was involved because one of the hijackers got a hold of him and said, we have Tandui like in our crosshairs, and if you don't feed us some information, we're going to kill her.
Yeah, that's a rough approximation of what
I'm trying to get through this. So he gives some information, and that information is what led to that plane hijacking. But to get the scent off his ass, he made a phone call from Jonathan Pryce's phone, like to Iran or something.
His desk phone, yeah.
During the hijacking. So that's what sort of let everyone off his scent. But the other gag is that Tandui knew about him making the phone call, which is what precipitated her. Oh, I didn't mention, Chris Pine and Tandui were like lovers.
Yes, hot and heavy.
And you can talk about all the sex scenes with them, and Chris Pine's mole, but she knew he was involved, so she just like vanished because she didn't want to deal with the shit.
She vanished because the information he gives is what causes the hijacking to not be stopped. He gives away what they were planning to do in order to save her, and because of that, all of these people die brutally. And because she knows that he was involved, she absconds. So
the bulk of the film is Chris and Tandui at the restaurant playing this cat and mouse game. Okay, so Chris Pine, he has someone on like speed dial who's going to kill her when she leaves the restaurant.
If he gives the go-ahead.
And she, because she knows what he's up to and she knows he's responsible, she has a bunch of CIA agents planted in the restaurant, and they've been serving Chris Pine wine with poison in it. So he's slowly dying over the course of this meal. So the film ends with Tandui leaving the restaurant, mm-hmm. and the assassin is calling Chris Pine like, hey, I have her like in my line of sight, like, what are we doing? And before Chris Pine can say yes or no, he dies. The end.
Yes, there you go.
I did not watch this movie. What did you think about it?
I really like this film, actually.
Okay, go through little notes.
It's based on a novel by, I believe, the screenwriter Olen Steinhauer, which I think you can tell. And I really enjoyed the vibe of it, because it is mostly an extensive flashback film, but I like the cat and mouse feeling of, as more and more information is divulged between Tandua and Chris Pine, Henry and Celia, respectively. I thought that and all the flashback scenes have surprisingly a lot of chemistry. There are quite a few sex scenes that felt kind of surprising, because they both bear a lot.
Do we see Chris Pine's butt?
You do. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yes. I mean, he's shown it all before, too, when he played Robert the Bruce. But anyhow, I think that it feels like a nice throwback. It reminded me a lot of Prizzi's Honor, which is a favorite of mine.
Is that with Angelica Houston?
She won her Oscar for that.
I haven't seen that.
That's where Jack Nicholson and Kathleen Turner are assassins and lovers, and the end of that film is their last assignment is to kill one another. And you know what always bummed me out was Kathleen Turner dies in that, because I always wanted her to survive. But anyhow, yes, so I really like the dance of that. I love the different vibes between the periods, because it opens in 2012, the CIA station in Vienna, and then goes quickly after that to Langley, and then Carmel by the Sea. I really like it. It's shot by Charlotte Bruce Christensen, Danish cinematographer. Janus Metz is Danish as well. She shot Fences for Denzel, Washington, the first A Quiet Place, two at least Thomas Vinterberg titles. I really like how they capture as the sun's going down on this dinner with these two, and the lighting of the restaurant. I think that is beautifully shot. April will be you could have a Chris Pine double feature, because there's another film coming out in April with him, and he has executive produced both of them. And this feels very much like somebody that's trying to develop kind of interesting, out-of-the-box storytelling, if you will. And I thought that Chris Pine fit this quite well. I thought he was kind of a pretty intriguing lead. And everybody else is great in it too. It's nice to see Fishburne and Jonathan Pryce. Yeah, it's like Prizzi's Honor mixed with In a Fair to Remember, is how it felt to me, which is a really odd balance to have.
What would you give it?
I'd give it 3.5 out of 5.
Anything else?
No.
Bye.
Bye.